So, Dr. Bob, what are the most common complaints from women around sex after 40, whether they're menopausal or not?
Well, typically the most common thing is just not having a desire for sex. And
Libido.
yes, low libido.
Now, I've seen it where women have experienced low libido with their husbands or their partners, but are super turned on by other people. So, then is it truly a libido issue?
For women, we have to warm up. You know, some
Hmm.
some men are able to just kind of, as soon as they see a woman, yeah, there you go.
Mm.
Hopefully not that big.
Ah, speak for yourself. No, I'm kidding. Right.
So, physiologically, just the way our bodies are built, that foreplay is sort of essential to get women into a position where they're aroused and their body is actually ready for sex.
Ready. Welcome back, gentle listeners. You are now tuned in to another episode of Kushae Chronicles. I am your amazing host, Kimba the Natural Diva, and we are deliciously proud to welcome back my co star and my girl and your sister girl, Dr. Barb. Hey, Dr. Barb, how are you?
Hello, hi everyone. Happy to be
Yes,
here. Thanks for having
yes.
me.
Oh, of course. We're the stars, clearly, darling. We're the stars. Now, for those of you who don't know, Dr. Barb is really Dr. Barbara McLaren by day. She's Dr. Barb by night. Um, and she's Miss Jackson if you're nasty. Anyway,
I like Miss
Doc,
Jackson.
sorry, Miss Jackson. Woo! Okay, so Dr. Barb is a board certified OBGYN with over 22 years of experience in women's health, robotic surgery. I mean, she is the bomb.com. So we are the authorities in the feminine health and wellness space and excited to be here. We're also the co-founders of Kushae, obviously, the brand behind
Yes.
Kushae Chronicles. And this episode is actually sponsored by Kushae. You wonder why.
Thanks, sponsor.
Thanks, Kushae. All right, so today we are talking about sex after 40. Dun, 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 for women and for men. We're going to add the men in a little bit, just
Mm,
a little bit. Okay, maybe
okay.
not. Okay, yeah. All right, so sex after 40. So we're both claiming to be over 40, right, Dr. Barb?
Speak for yourself. No.
I'm 39 and 3/8.
15 sixteenths.
19th, 20th. Anyway, girl, bye. Okay, so we are claiming to be around 40.
Yeah.
And there are certainly some challenges. So I want to hear, and now being over 40 includes people who are perimenopause and then some people who are menopausal.
hmm
So, Dr. Barb, what are the most common complaints from women around sex after 40, whether they're menopausal or not?
Well, typically the most common thing is just not having a desire for sex. And
Libido.
yes, low libido.
Mm,
Is very common, and there's a lot of confounding factors. You're getting older, you may have school age children, a
hmm,
career, and so
hmm.
you're just busy running around. And most people by in their 40s have been in sort of long-term marriages at least 10 years, right? So there's all these stresses of just family life and living, and some women are just, sex is just the last thing on the list.
Okay, so let's talk about libido because, like you said, there's so many factors. Now, I remember you in one of our last videos talking about libido is 80% mental and 20% probably physical.
Yeah.
But I want to focus on the physical for now, right? So let's go with the 20%. Okay.
Forget about the mental.
Because, girl, if you insane in the membrane, I can't help you. No, we're going to talk about mental, though. Really. There are some things that we got to address, which is
Yeah.
true. However,
Yeah.
let's go with the physical. And I blame the men, all of you, or the partners, whoever the hell y'all want to be. I need y'all to bring back the two magic words for play. Hello.
Yes.
I mean, the.
It's actually one word.
That's fine too. Two compound words. Okay, don't let me break it down. Okay, very good. I was a good English student. You got two compound words, you put it together, you make one word. It's called foreplay.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Shall I repeat?
No.
I think we Dr. Barb's like, we got it. I think people take that for granted because without that, first of all, let me speak for me. Without that, it's like you cannot jump in the car and not turn on the engine. My guy, it's not going to go nowhere. You didn't even rev
Absolutely.
it up.
Absolutely. And for women, we have to warm up. You know,
Hmm.
some men are able to just kind of, as soon as they see a woman, yeah, there you go.
Mm.
Hopefully not that big.
Ah, speak for yourself. No, I'm kidding.
So, I forgot what I was saying.
Oh, men can rev up, but women need to
So
warm
men
up.
can rev up really, really quick because men are more visual.
Mm.
And women tend to be, and not all. This is just generalities, but it
Right.
doesn't pertain to every woman. But in general, women are more cerebral, right?
Mm.
And so we want to be seduced. We want to
Right.
kind of ease into it. We want to be aroused, and so
Hmm.
that arousal can be very quickly, very, very quick for men, but not so much women. And
Right.
during this arousal phase, that's when, our juices start flowing, right? The vagina
Ooh.
starts to lubricate itself in anticipation that there's going to be some action.
Action. Let's talk about grandma. Hey. you know,
Sweet.
I like the word lubricate, Dr. Barb. So
Yes. Yes.
now
So
talk
during that
about.
arousal, certain things are
Mm,
happening to your body as a woman, and some women may be aware, and some women may not. For instance, you
right.
may start experiencing a hardening of the nipples.
Oh.
Hmm. And you may start to, get lubricated and get juicy down there, and
Wet,
that's
ladies.
and that all happens during that arousal phase. So for
Right.
women, that lubrication actually has a function, okay, because
Hmm.
it facilitates penetration,
Hey, that is
right?
the goal.
So, imagine trying to have sex and you're completely dry. That's a little bit more difficult and
Hmm.
uncomfortable for you, actually, because of things that can happen, such as abrasions and cuts and
Right.
lacerations and things like that.
Right.
So, physiologically, just the way our bodies are built, that foreplay is sort of essential to get women into a position where they're aroused and their body is actually ready for sex.
Ready to
Mhm.
accept
Right.
the the
To
the
receive.
penetrative, right, to receive. Ooh, right, because we're the receiver, right?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
You're receiving.
So if they
So,
were the, wait, what are we again? You know how you have the nut and the screw? Y'all get what I'm saying. Very
yeah.
good. Hmm.
Yeah,
We're
we
the
would be
nut.
the nut.
Correct. But not that nut.
Wait,
We
not that
digress.
nutty, but the nut. So that's why for women, and a lot of times, if you're in a long-term relationship, you're having busy lives, you bills got to get paid, work, all the responsibilities you have as a parent. Sometimes, the male may not want to take that time. He just wants to
Mm,
get straight to it, just go
right.
straight for the target. And so for women, sometimes, that's less than ideal.
Right, exactly. Now,
Yeah.
I will say there are obviously men who are so fine or so physically attractive that that'll do it alone. But I don't know that that lasts. I don't know that that's sustainable. I think that's probably in the hot and heavy honeymoon period.
Yeah.
But then after a while, you're like, he all right.
Yeah.
That
Reality
wears off.
hits.
Right, that wears off.
Reality
So
hits.
brothers, y'all need to know, like, you could be fine to get the girl, but you gotta do more than be fine to keep the girl. Okay,
Mhm.
that's when the mental comes in. So let's talk about the 80%.
Right.
Right.
So again, a lot of times when I have patients come to me with low libido, one of the first things I'll ask them about is, how's your relationship?
Oh, damn. damn. And she's like, Dr. Barb, you all in my business.
Yeah. Because if, you're at war with your husband, you're pissed off that, he's been leaving the seat of the toilet up and you got dunked into the toilet because in the middle of the night running to the bathroom to pee and he left the seat up,
Right.
or if you're pissed off that he's not helping you around the house and you feel overwhelmed, then for a good number of women, if you're having those negative feelings, it is very hard to separate that from, intimacy, that
Mm,
point of intimacy. So if you're unhappy in a relationship, you're pissed off at your husband, or things are not going well, then some women will experience a decrease in their libido, in their desire to want to be with that man that's causing them hurt and pain or whatever
right, exactly.
the
Now
thing of
I've
the day is.
right. Now I've seen it where women have experienced low libido with their husbands or their partners, but are super turned on by other people. So then is it truly a libido issue?
Well, again, part of that libido includes not just the physical, but the mental.
Right.
That's why
Mm.
you see men can have sex with, women that they may not even be attracted to.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Um they're able we're kind of wired differently.
Mm. Okay. So ladies, just because he's having sex with you don't even mean he like you, girl. So
Yeah, a
be
man can
clear.
have sex with, a man can have a beautiful wife with a beautiful figure, and I mean,
A Halle Berry of sorts.
Halle Berry's gotten cheated on. Beyonce has gotten cheated on,
Hello.
right? And so yeah, men have the ability to do that, but
Right.
women, we're kind of wired differently.
Okay.
Not
We
that
at
we
least gotta
can't
like you.
we can't display those kinds of reckless behaviors, but we're not wired like that.
Like that, naturally. Exactly. Okay, gotcha. So then, but now talk about libido that's not, and that has nothing to do with the relationship, because there is a testosterone estrogen balance
Yeah.
that has to be
So the
maintained.
hormonal. And
Right.
so women, even as women, our bodies do produce testosterone.
Right.
And
Right.
that testosterone is responsible for libido, basically sex drive, your ability to orgasm,
Mm.
right? And also in women, testosterone is also associated with energy,
Right.
muscle, being able to build
Like
muscles,
muscle
uh,
mass. Okay.
yeah, and energy. So testosterone is important, but as we age and as we get closer to menopause, now the average age of menopause is about 49 in Black women.
I'm I'm concerned, but not for me.
I mean, you're still 35, so you have nothing to
Literally.
worry about.
We talked about this.
So but then as we get into that last decade to where we have functioning, female hormones
Mm.
secreted by the ovaries, which is, the estrogen, the progesterone, the testosterone as well. Um we're sort of on the decline. So some
Mm.
women may find that even though their testosterone levels are within that normal range when you get it tested,
Right.
but it's a drop from prior levels. And so if
Oh.
it drops from prior levels, then you'll be able to feel that difference.
Really? So then what do women exhibit? What type of behaviors do they exhibit? Do they start getting sluggish? Are they just not in
Right.
the mood anymore? Like what is
Fatigue,
it?
uh, low energy. Some women may start to experience a little bit of weight gain because of muscle loss that occurs naturally with age.
Mm,
And then as far as, the sex drive, just even wanting sex or being able to enjoy sex or being able to achieve orgasms easily.
mm,
um with that drop in testosterone, you're going to see a drop in the sex drive that you had maybe when you were younger. So just as a function of age, over time the sex drive does go down.
Right.
with
So,
declining testosterone levels. However, I can just speak for myself. Well, I'll speak for a lot of women. A lot of women find that as they get older, they're more in touch and in tune with their bodies, and they know what they like, and they know what their body likes. They know how to
mm,
pleasure. They learn how to pleasure themselves and how to be pleasured by someone else. So you
right.
tend to have a little bit more confidence. And for some women, they get a later peak in sex drive
Mm.
than men do, because men will reach their peak. I believe it's like in the early 20s, whereas for women, it's like in the 50s.
Stella got her groove back, girl. That's what I'm talking about. This is the Stella era. That's what
Yeah.
y'all heard it here first. I'm calling it the Stella era. And that's when you get your groove back.
Yes. Yes. So some
But in
women
your
do
50s,
experience a sexual
hmm,
peak, you know, in their 50s,
right.
which is nice.
What, who, are you on behalf of,
The 50 plusers.
exactly. It's not all laws because I know a lot of them are out here struggling with menopause and everything that comes with that. So now, one of the things that I know women are struggling with is dryness
Yeah,
as it
right,
relates to menopause and then
right.
as it relates to uncomfortability with
Yes.
sex and
And I
intimacy.
often see women who have so much dryness and irritation that it begins to affect their sex drive, in that they don't want to have sex because it hurts.
Right. Like it physically does not feel good. And she's like, get thee away from me, Satan.
Right. So it's
Okay.
kind of like
Anyone with a
rubbing
penis.
on sandpaper, because you're not getting the lubrication as a function of
Mm,
the menopause, right?
right.
And so if your husband wants to have sex and you're kind of like, oh, it's completely dry down there, and I'm having declining testosterone levels, so I don't even really, not really interested in it.
I ain't really fucking with you
Um,
like that.
and so some women just decide, I'm not going to have sex because it just hurts too much.
Now, what can they do about that? Because nobody wants to throw away their relationship just because. But physiologically speaking, they cannot do anything about it. Like, is there something to do?
Yeah,
You
we
can
can.
do something.
Yeah, we can use things that, kind of improve things. And things we use are things like estrogen creams or
Now,
pills.
now the estrogen creams, are they good though, Dr. Bob? Let's be honest.
Well, it's basically restoring the estrogen to
Mm,
the vagina. The vagina's health is dependent on estrogen. So when your
mm,
estrogen levels decrease, the health of the vagina goes down. And the vagina, when your estrogen levels decrease, you'll get vaginal dryness. The vaginal tissue actually thins out. It
mm.
thins out, and then it dries out, and it becomes super irritated if left untreated.
Oh gosh. Do you know if it's uncomfortable for the guys as it is with? I mean, I can't imagine because they're not able to kind of slide and
Right.
glide like they used to.
Right. So a lot of times you're having to incorporate water-based lubricants,
Right, right, right,
right?
right.
So to get it moisturized so that penetration can be a little easier.
I gotcha. But does that work long term? I just feel
Well,
like
no,
it's
it
kind of
just
a pain
works
in the
for
ass.
that moment. It's not fixing the issue, whereas the
Right.
estrogen actually fixes the issue.
Oh,
But
really?
hormones are, a bit controversial. People are
Yep.
scared of them. But this would be just local estrogen, which typically will use something once or twice a week. So it's not absorbed like throughout the rest of your body. So it doesn't increase. People get concerned about hormones, specifically estrogen, as it
Hmm.
has been found to kind of have a loose relation to slightly increased risk for breast cancer, as
Yeah.
well as getting blood clots in your legs that can travel
But
to your heart and kill you.
or your lung. Okay, great.
Heart
Pulmonary
and
embolism.
lungs. Yeah.
So, ladies, it's either sex or life. I mean, that's what you're saying,
No,
Dr. Barr.
but the risk is not elevated with just the local vaginal estrogen cream.
Okay.
So there's
So when
no
you say
increased risk
local,
for.
right, is it a suppository that you're inserting when
Right.
you say
It's, well,
local?
we have creams, and then we have a pill.
But where are you putting the
Um,
cream? Is it on? It's not on the vulva. It has to be in the vagina, no?
yeah, it goes inside. So
Yeah.
you
Okay.
insert it with an applicator into the vagina.
Okay. I gotcha.
The cream,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Right. Okay. And then is it oozing out? Is it kind of just like adhering
Yeah,
to the
it kind of
walls?
that's a big thing that people complain about, the fact that, well, what goes in must come out.
Exactly. It's gravitational. Boom. We're standing straight up. So that's got to be obviously gravity's pulling on it. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's I
And
guess
so that's why they created this little pill. It's a tiny little pill. There's very little what do you call that when it comes out?
like
Drip,
granules or drip
drip out.
discharge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so so those work a little bit better. They also have little vaginal rings
Mm.
that you insert into the vagina, and you can insert that into like 90 days. It can actually stay in for 90 days, and that's another way to get estrogen into the vagina as well.
Right. So, okay, so sit back and relax. Get ready for this question, Barb. Like, okay, here we go, Dr. Barb. So, with this vaginal ring now, is it sitting
Yes.
in the place of the cervix? Where is it sitting?
Yeah, it's sitting in the vagina. Now remember, the vagina in its natural state is collapsed on itself. A lot of people think that the vagina is open. It's not. It's collapsed on
Right.
itself. So anything that you put in
Mm.
there is going to stay unless you fish
Ah,
it
but it
out.
opens obviously when it, so when something
Well,
enters, it's opening.
if it's accommodating something like a penis, it'll open
Right.
up. But in its natural state, it's like this. It's collapsed on itself.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. So
That's why
then,
tampons can stay in.
because it's naturally collapsed and then it'll just make room.
Right.
Okay, so shout out to all the women. First of all, guys, hmm, losers, because you guys are talking about how women out here have big holes and shit. It's not even big. It's just it's collapsed. What y'all talking about?
Yeah.
So that's not even a thing. It's just that your penises are small. Let's be honest. Anyway, I'm speaking for a friend. No, I'm kidding. No, but I've heard women have come and said, what can we do? And if I've had children, and I'm like, you don't have to do anything, honey, baby.
Well, there's a difference between just like that and then having that grip.
The glue.
So a lot of times what men are feeling are the rugae, which is the natural folds inside the vagina.
Okay.
Yeah, so the technical term is rugae.
Ooh, Ruge.
So some women have more rugae than others.
Oh, they want the
And so that
Ruge.
might be the difference that men are feeling when they're feeling one vagina versus another vagina.
Because some people have lax Ruge.
Right. Or less rugae.
Oh, really? But that's what you can flex is the
That's the
Ruge.
grip. That's the grip
Right.
thing.
So when you're flexing
Mhm.
and you're doing your Kegels, it's the Ruge that you're moving.
Right. Or the muscle underneath the
The
rugae.
Ruge. But the Ruge is what he
Mhm.
feels.
Right.
Come on, ladies, let's get your Ruges up. Get it, girl. Get it, girl.
Yeah, so the muscle is underneath,
The
you
Ruge.
know, the mucosa,
Okay,
yeah.
so we need to have a T-shirt that says Ruge all day. No? Better Ruge
Well,
with
for
Kushae.
the woman, for the women, it's like we don't feel any different, so we don't
Exactly.
care. It's a male thing, I guess.
Right. We're
I don't
we're
know.
gonna have to get one of them on here to talk about the Ruge.
Yes, yes, that would be a great guest.
Absolutely. I have one in mind. All right, we'll talk to him in a minute. All right, so then we've talked about libido, we've talked about what you can do for libido. Now talk about the pellets. I know pellets have become a very popular option for women, but it primarily addresses the testosterone declination or decline. Can you talk a little bit about pellets and what they are
Right.
and what they do for women?
Yeah, so they're hormone pellets. They're hormone replacement.
Hmm.
So usually those are reserved for women that are have a deficiency in, and the main three are estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone.
Okay,
So when
gotcha.
we talk about hormone replacement, those are the three hormones that we generally will try to replace in those women that are having problematic side effects from that deficiency in the hormones.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
So typically it involves, actually checking your hormone levels and seeing where you're at.
Hmm.
And then deciding, what dosage you need. So
Okay.
the pellets are like a naturals of what we call bioidentical hormone replacement.
Hmm.
So it's tailor made for each individual based on their age, their weight, their hormone levels, and then we kind of plug that into an equation, and then we can come up with something that's going to address your deficiencies, and as a result address the symptoms that you're having,
Okay.
which
Okay. Gotcha.
um So usually we can put in the pellets estrogen and testosterone. Now for those ladies that have already gone through menopause and they're deficient in estrogen and testosterone, we can put both in the pellets. And the pellets go under your skin and they dissolve slowly over time. So once you get the pellets, it lasts for generally anywhere between 3 to
Mm,
5
okay.
months,
Gotcha.
right? And then it kind of wears off, and then it's time
Mhm.
to get a new one. So about 3 times a year, you'd be getting the pellets, and that's going to restore your hormone levels and hopefully address all of the symptoms. And with the testosterone, I find that women have like their sex drive goes through the roof.
Yes, I heard from a friend that that's the case. So-
And they have lots of energy, and they find that they're able to increase their exercise endurance, which means you can just push yourself a little bit more when you go to the gym, because like a lot of times you go to the gym and you're like, oh my god, I'm exhausted. This will
Mm.
the increase in testosterone will help you to be able to push yourself, be able to build muscles more easily. So women really really like it.
Well, I had heard from a friend that yeah, her sex drive was out of control. I mean, I swear she was like humping trees out here. You know what I'm saying? Like she was
Yeah, walking down the street, humping the
basically,
trees.
basically. And so
Yeah.
I would suggest, ladies, that if you're looking at using the bioidenticals, aka the pellets, you might want to either be in a very, you know, accessible relationship, or have have somebody on
Or
standby.
go to the sex toy
Load
store
up.
and
Load
go crazy.
because the rose ain't gonna be enough. I'm trying to tell y'all.
I don't know. The rose is pretty impressive.
Speaking from a friend.
It has a great track record.
Now, let me ask you, Dr. Barber, about that. So, sex after 40, women are using this rose because they're like, we don't have time to wait on men, or they get on my damn nerves, and blah, blah, blah. Have you gotten any complaints about overuse with the rose? What are you hearing from women? Are they sharing their experiences with the rose? Is it causing any damage?
No. I don't think so. I mean, I think there is this idea that, at least with the older versions of the sex toys where you can get overly
Right.
stimulated and then you won't want the traditional normal way, like with an
Exactly.
actual
Because you're like, bruh,
person.
unless your tongue can flick at 300 rotations per minute,
Beats per minute.
then you call me back.
Right. So overstimulation and
Yes, those are the
desensitization
concerns. Is that true?
of the clitoris
Yeah,
from
is that true?
overstimulation. Yes.
Mm,
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
ladies.
And so you may have to take breaks,
Okay, so what Dr.
ladies.
Barber's trying to say is settle down. The rose is all good,
Because those are movements that are not
possible.
humanly
You cannot flick your
replicable.
tongue 300.
You cannot, like, it's not humanly possible. So then women may find that, well, I get a little disappointed.
Oh,
But then,
come
when
on.
you actually have somebody face
Hmm.
to face,
Go ahead. I'm still listening.
if you have somebody face to face, that may make up for, the difference. I don't know.
Listen, I just have to go put my rose up. No, I'm kidding.
When it
Exactly.
plugged it
It
in.
had to charge. While you talking about it, I was reminded. No. Actually, no, I had to put it away because I'm expecting a guest,
Yeah.
and I don't want him to feel intimidated.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Don't he doesn't want to be intimidated. You don't want to intimidate him
Exactly.
from
And that's the
jump.
thing. I think guys, I'm still finding that in this dating life of mine, guys are still very it's 50-50. Some guys are traditionally not interested in the fact, or I think they're intimidated or upset by the fact that women still are able to pleasure themselves, where some guys are jumping in like, well, let's up, bust it out. Like we ready. I want to play too.
Yeah. Well, it may make some men
Yes.
feel inadequate that they can't please their woman and she's wanting more. So it's an
I
ego
think
thing,
so,
I
but
think.
brothers, you get your rocks off, we got to get our rocks off too. Okay? So it's
Yeah,
only fair. I mean, all right, so now let me
it
ask you
is
this,
what it
Dr. Barb.
is.
I believe I've had conversations with lots of women, and you have had conversations with even more women, that when they are pleasured by themselves or mechanicals like the rose and the rabbits and the things, they're having deeper and more explosive orgasms than when they're with typically than with their versus their natural partners. Is that a thing? And is it because there's a difference between clitoral orgasms and vaginal? Like, is there a difference?
There
Mm,
can be, so some women, I would say, most women do not orgasm from
right.
vaginal penetration, that they need some kind of clitoris. And when you look at the anatomy, the penis, embryologically, the penis is
Hmm.
equivalent to the clitoris,
Right.
not the vagina. The vagina is actually equivalent to
The scrotum? Yeah, the
the
scrotum.
balls.
Hmm.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know if you could sit there and play with a man's scrotum and he orgasm.
Oh, this is a good analogy, Dr. Barb. Wait a you is kind, you is smart, you is beautiful.
Right. And then if a woman approached a man and it was just like, no, I'm just gonna squeeze your balls, it's kind of like, okay, you don't understand the anatomy,
This
my
listen,
dear.
although I knew that, it never occurred to me that it's the same.
You never
This
connected
is
the
why we gotta talk to
dots.
Dr. Barr more often. Y'all tripping. Oh my gosh, that is so true. So we could sit here and like
Right.
do this to your balls all day, and they'd be like, "This girl's a loser."
Okay, you gonna do anything else?
You got any tricks up your sleeve, bro? Like now's the time.
so so whereas a woman may still be, stimulated and stuff like that, but for a good number of women, they do also need
Right,
clitoral stimulation as well to
right.
affect
Now
orgasm. Now there's also the G spot,
let's talk about the G spot. Is
which
it like a unicorn
that
that people can't find? Is it the pot of gold under the rainbow? Is it's real, but how accessible is it?
I don't know. I don't know.
We're gonna have to get a sexologist.
But it is located in the anterior. I mean, there's an
Right, right,
actual
right, right,
spot. Right. So then the aim is to concentrate
right.
on that spot, and then there's this deluge of
Fluids.
watery fluid
Right.
that does come out. But not every woman is able to access
And see,
that
that's the difference
spot.
because
And then focus on that spot and have that spot like regularly
stimulated, right? Because
stimulated.
unless you've got a hook in the penis, or you've got one of those mechanicals that has the hook, it's hard to get
Right.
to.
It's hard to
Exactly.
get to.
So for the guys, ladies, guys out here lying. For the guys who are putting in their profiles, I can make every girl squirt. Boy, bye.
What? Who puts that on
Listen, I don't
their
know, but I
profile?
heard from
Wait a
somebody.
minute.
Wait
Wait
a
a
minute.
minute.
Wait one damn minute. Okay, no, maybe they're not putting that on a profile, but
Wait a
I think they're
minute.
out here texting people like, "Girl, I can make
Yeah.
anybody."
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. You know, there are lovers of the art of
Ooh,
lovemaking. Yeah. So you do have some men who really learn how to please
and
a
not
woman.
tease. Okay, Dr. Barb.
Right. And then there are some men that are just kind of doing what they always do, and they're just kind of going through the
Ah, I call these the one
motions.
trick ponies.
So you'll tend to find men that really, and some men are pleasers and some are
Pushers.
takers. You know
I'm
what I
your
mean?
pusher, baby.
Right.
Yeah. Some are one trick ponies.
So if you find someone that's willing to discover your body with you, girl, you have hit the jackpot.
Cha-ching. And back to libido.
Hmm.
You talk about libido on fire. You'll be it's 10 out of 10 at this point. Like, and I don't give a damn what he looks like. Well, I do give a damn that he has a job. Ladies, let's just make sure.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Okay, ladies, so we're gonna have to make sure we get what we want up front, because this stuff comes later. Of course, it does. So whatever you need up front, make sure he can communicate, call you back, the basics. And but then if he takes the time to learn you and your body, and y'all figure out some stuff out simultaneously, it's a beautiful thing. Hmm. Speaking
Right,
for a friend.
right.
Hmm.
Yes, me too.
Yes, Dr. Barb.
I'm speaking for a friend as well. Yeah.
All right, so last question for you. What can a woman over 40 do if she is dating? Because a lot of women over 40 are coming out of marriages that they were unhappy with, and libidos are snapping back. But when she runs or encounters any problems, is it a visit to the gynecologist? Is it a visit to what's her first action?
Yeah, so I would say, look within yourself. Like, is there anything going on? Because again, women tend to be a little bit more cerebral as far as like, the sex drive and the desire. It's not as physical as it is with men. Although, you have exceptions both ways. So are you under stress at
Hmm.
work? Are you at war? Are you having financial difficulty? Because, I would say if you're experiencing low sex drive and you have all of this stuff going on, you probably need to address that
You're like, handle your
first.
business first, and then
Right.
yeah,
But you have to, because again, if you're under a lot of stress, life's not working in your favor, uh just your sex drive
right,
may
right,
take a
right.
hit. So look at all of those things, and then for those women who I would say are 40 plus, maybe seeing a doctor and actually checking your testosterone levels just to see, could that be a contributing factor? If you're noticing the vaginal dryness or the vagina becoming more dry as you go along, then again there are some products that you can use. The Astroglide, there's a product called Replens, which is natural based and made from seaweed, which will pull moisture into
Mm.
the vagina. So there are
The
things that
ring, we
can
talked about this
that can
ring
be done.
thing. Okay,
Right,
gotcha. Right. Can you
right,
use the
right.
ring?
So there are a lot of
No, go ahead.
different the yeah, you can have sex with the ring in. Most men won't feel it. Some men actually do feel it, and they
What
actually
about if you have an
like it
IUD?
because it's a little bit more friction on the
It
penis.
closes it, it clamps it down, it kind of decreases the
Well,
circumference too.
they're right. There's just a
Right,
little bit more
exactly. But if you
friction
have an
there.
IUD, can you still use the ring?
I would be very careful with the ring because the IUD strings, depending on how long they are, they may get raveled up. And so when you take out the ring, you may actually pull out your
Ladies, we are
IUD.
not trying to do that.
Yes. So it just depends. And sometimes, we'll work with patients and I cut it a little shorter, especially the ones that want to use
Right.
tampons and to avoid the string from getting raveled and tangled up and you inadvertently remove your
Oh
your
gosh.
your
But that would
IUD.
hurt though, huh? If you snatched it out? I think so.
You might feel a little
Yeah, for
crampy,
sure.
yeah.
Okay. All right, ladies. Well, hopefully this has been helpful. Listen, we over 40, but we ain't dead, child. And as far as Dr. Barbara's concerned, you got about 10 years before you really get your groove back. So go on ahead and practice.
Yes.
You
Yes,
have
yes,
time,
yes.
and these are some
Yes.
of our best years, ladies. So even though I'm only 39 and 3/8, I will be joining you soon. And so I look forward to being a part of the crew. Okay. 40
Yes.
and fabulous.
Yes. Yes.
I got
You
some
got
time,
some
just
time. You
a
got
little
some
bit of
time.
time. So, but we are expecting you to be 40 and fabulous, 50 and phenomenal, and the list goes on and on. So, thank you so much, Dr. Barb, for joining us today and giving us your expert
All
advice.
right. Thanks
We
for
love you,
having
Dr.
me.
Barb. All right, you hang in there in the
Okay.
studio. We're just telling everybody goodbye.
Bye.
And ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for listening to this episode of Kushae Chronicles. I'm your host, Kimba, the Natural Diva, and I am now signing off. Good night, good day, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.